Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. I thought I'd give you another Hurricane Florence update. Things are getting pretty serious along the North and South Carolina coastline as of this afternoon. You can see clearly on the visible satellite image the very impressive cloud structure of Hurricane Florence. So here we are, North and South Carolina. Charlotte's right here. This is the Wilmington, Myrtle Beach area. You can see very powerful Category 4 hurricane winds upwards of 130, 135 miles an hour. Very symmetrical, impressive looking storm. It's moving pretty quickly off to the northwest, west-northwest. And it was over here yesterday off the screen. Here it is now. And in about 24 hours, it's going to be all right here on North Carolina's doorstep. So a couple other images. This shows you the infrared image, so this can scan at night as well. So this is a bit longer of a loop, so it shows you its progression over the last maybe 12 hours or so. And again, you can see the high cirrus, those really high ice crystal clouds are just starting to move on shore now, the outer banks. So the outermost edges of the storm are finally starting to reach the coast. No major impacts today along the Carolina coastline. Those effects will deteriorate quickly as we head throughout the day tomorrow as the hurricane approaches from the east. The question for our area, everybody keeps asking me, how bad is it going to be? How much rain are we going to get? How much wind are we going to get? So I'm going to step through just a couple of the latest models, and there have been some pretty dramatic changes in the models over the last 12 to 18 hours or so. And I'll go through those with you all. So this kind of illustrates the point. So here's the position of Florence right now, moving off towards the west-northwest. This is 12 hours from now. Tomorrow morning, and then by tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be somewhere right along the coast, just south and east of Wilmington, Morehead City, that area. And then you can see it's going to take it several days. Each one of these timestamps is 6 hours. So this is 6 more hours, 6 more hours, 6 more hours, 6, 6, 6, 6. So it's going to take super long time, just kind of drift along the coast. This particular model has it actually making landfall here around Wilmington. Others have it kind of hugging the coast and then moving inland in South Carolina. Others having it moving down the coast a little bit more and moving in closer to the Savannah region. But then, from where it moves inland, it's really important to notice how it kind of moves across South Carolina or Georgia, and that has distinct implications in terms of what it's going to mean for us. So this is the American model. So this is kind of what it has, stalling out along the coast, spinning here for several days. Then finally, by Saturday and Sunday, it starts moving across South Carolina. Here's the European model. So you can see it shows very similar track. Stalls out. Look at all these little timestamps here. Again, moves southward, but this one has it just stalling a little farther east or offshore. So the other model had it moving onshore a little bit, then moving along the South Carolina coast. This one has it moving or staying offshore, then moving over water, which will keep it stronger, and then eventually cutting in somewhere in southern South Carolina, and then moving off to the east. What has changed for Charlotte? For us, a southern track, something like this, or even something like this, puts us on the northern side of the storm. So imagine a hurricane is spinning counterclockwise. So the flow around the storm is something like this. So it's spinning around a circle like that. So when the storm is here, we're on this side. So the flow is coming from the ocean here and wrapping around and bringing lots and lots of precipitation to us. So really the worst side of the storm to be on is always the northern and eastern side of the storm. So if the storm does indeed take a track south of Charlotte, that will mean more rain for us than what it looked like yesterday. Yesterday it looked like 2 to 4 inches of rain. Now it looks at least double that amount if this track specifically holds. Why are there so many questions? And it's because of this graphic. So if you just notice over the next 24 hours up to right here, almost every single model agrees, even through the next 48 hours. So this is tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and this is Friday morning at 8 a.m. So it's going to be right along the coast Friday morning. But then notice then there's some divergence in the models, right? Some of them have it tracking basically from Wilmington inland, right near Charlotte. Others have it tracking inland closer to Myrtle Beach and through Columbia, and then even more further south through kind of the Savannah region. So there's quite a bit of spread right here is what you're seeing. And depending on which one of these it takes will have bigger or lesser implications for our weather around here is what it's looking like. I thought I'd step you through time. This just shows you one of our high resolution models. It shows you the approach of the storm, just to show you the magnitude and the size of the storm. So where it's going to really be terrible is right around this time frame. This is sometime early on Friday. Friday morning hours. It's going to be right along the coast. And what happens is the flow around the hurricane is, again, counterclockwise. So on the northern side, so the North Carolina side of this, you're getting all that surge, all that water being pushed on shore by the force of the wind. There's going to be tremendous coastal flooding and storm surge, coupled with 20 to 30 inches of rain, because the storm, as I step this forward, is just going to sit here for several days and then slowly trek westward across South Carolina. And again, this is just one model's version. This could be south of this. And again, it puts us on the northern side. So the flow around this is like this. So it's basically taking Atlantic moisture and feeding it into our region, which greatly increases the amount of rainfall that will be forecasted unless this changes again. So that's kind of the idea in terms of track. And then it shifts westward, then eventually up through the mountainous regions, and then eventually lifts up northward and then gets out of our neck of the woods. But not until Sunday into Monday would we lose the effects from the storm system. So this is going to be a very long duration storm. So tomorrow's weather, I think, is actually going to be pretty decent. Things will start to deteriorate Friday, and especially Saturday into Sunday for our region. The Hurricane Center, this is the official track from the experts. They basically, again, you saw there was almost complete model agreement that the storm is going to move in this direction. Then notice this is 8 p.m. Thursday, so tomorrow evening, 8 a.m. Friday. So in 12 hours, it barely moves at all. And they have it just hugging the shore. Some models, again, have it going onshore a little bit. Others, like they're projecting here, just keep it just offshore. So it will weaken as it's right here because half of its circulation is over land. But this will just flood the coast tremendously if it just sits here for a bit of time. Then again, it's forecasted just to drift westward. It might go a little south of this. It might go a little north of this. But somewhere in this general vicinity from kind of the Florida-Georgia border up through about the South Carolina, North Carolina border, somewhere in that region, the storm is just going to kind of drift across and put us in the northern side of this. The farther south it goes, the less rain we should probably see here in Charlotte. If it takes a track kind of like this right through central South Carolina, that'll be pretty bad for us in terms of total amounts of rainfall. When would you expect tropical storm force winds? Well, once the storm reaches the coastline right here, tomorrow, into tomorrow evening, that's when we might start seeing some pretty breezy conditions here in Charlotte. I don't think wind's going to be a huge deal here. You're certainly going to notice that there's wind, 15, 20, 25 mile per hour winds. We're not going to have roaring winds of 60, 70 miles an hour. That's not going to be a problem. But we will have some very gusty winds, 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts are certainly a distinct possibility. But those won't start until tomorrow evening, overnight, especially Friday and Saturday. And again, depending on the track and how close it gets to us will control how much wind we see. In terms of rainfall, I think I showed this yesterday. This block of precipitation was up here across the Raleigh area and the northern part of the state yesterday. But since the models have trended southward, so has the axis of heaviest precipitation, which is now from basically the western part of the state through Asheville, through Charlotte, through kind of the Greensboro area, and then down south towards Wilmington, and obviously the coastal areas. These purple areas are over 20 inches of rain. These red areas are 10 to 15 inches of rain, and the orange areas are 6+ inches of rain, 6 to 10 inches of rain. So right now, just taking the computer models for what they are right now, Charlotte would see somewhere between half a foot and a foot of rain from this storm system. But as you saw, several of those tracks have it tracking even farther south in South Carolina. And if that happens, this axis will shift even farther south, and then we would see less rain. We will certainly see rain from this storm, no matter which track it takes. But the really catastrophic kind of flooding rains is in this orange and red and purple area here. That's where you'd have flooding, widespread flooding, and a lot of damage from the flooding all across the state. So this looks pretty bad right now. But again, the storm's going to stall. So there'll be several more model runs tonight, tomorrow, and early Friday. And by then, we should have a pretty good idea of where it's actually going to track down the line. I thought I'd just show you briefly. Here comes the storm. This is the American model, the GFS model. You can see it shows the storm approaching, and then it actually makes landfall right there, moves inland a little bit. And you can see the winds here. Here's Charlotte here. The winds are about 15 to 20 miles an hour, and this is Friday afternoon. So Friday's going to be a breezy day, no doubt. And then it just has it drifting, kind of moves over Myrtle Beach all the way down to Charleston, and then it moves inland. And you can see our winds again are still 15, 20, 25 miles an hour across our area, and then it moves northward. If I switch this to precipitation, we will certainly see some showers. So this is Friday and into Saturday, there's certainly some showers rotating around the storm, but I don't think we're going to see a whole ton of rain until Friday night into Saturday morning. So then you can see Saturday morning rolls around. Now we start getting in all these greens and yellows. And by Saturday afternoon, you can see big bands of precipitation rotate around the thing. And the reason why it's bad to be on the north side, again, is because of the circulation is spinning this way. So it's taking this moisture from the ocean, basically wrapping it around. So you can see even if this tracks down into Georgia, we would still see rain. The heaviest rain, though, is generally just maybe 100 miles or so north. And you can see this axis of heavy rain kind of positioned right over us. And then it would rain through Saturdays, through Sunday, through Monday. And then eventually by Monday and Tuesday, it would pull up to the north and we would be left with just some showers. If you look at total accumulation, this is just this particular model. If I fast forward this through time, this shows you how much rain will accumulate across our area. You can see the coastal regions, 20 to 30 inches of rain. That is catastrophic levels of flooding, coupled with storm surge from 2 days of the storm sitting there. There is going to be so much flooding and damage along the eastern Carolina counties. It's going to be really, really terrible there. But then you can see a huge swath of orange, this 4+ inches of rain across much of South Carolina, much of North Carolina, and Charlotte's in the 7 to 10 inch plus range. And again, if the storm shifts a little bit more south, this axis will also shift southward. But basically, you should be prepared for huge amounts of rain across the area. Again, tomorrow I think we'll be fine. Might see some showers around. Friday, it'll start getting a little windier. We'll see some showers by Friday afternoon, Friday in the overnight. But then the real heavy rain would move in Saturday into Sunday. Again, this track has shifted from just 24 hours ago, so can it shift again? Most certainly. So I will try to post another update either later tonight or tomorrow morning with the latest model guidance, and hopefully we'll be able to paint a little clearer picture. But for now, I would just be prepared for some power outages and some really severe flooding across much of North Carolina and South Carolina for that matter. So I wish I had better news, but I'm here to just show you what data we have. So I will see you all later. Have a good Wednesday and look for another update soon.